Hi, and welcome to the WHYcast, episode 11. I'm Nancy,
Hi, Matt.
and we are the hosts of the only podcast about a hacker camp in the universe. This volunteer-run event will take place next year in the Netherlands, approximately 42 kilometers above Amsterdam, from August 8th to 12th, 2025. So, Ad, what are we talking about today?
Well, as is per usual, we have some news from Project Lead. We
Mhm,
have some updates for you. Very exciting news. We have a where to hack, which is a very important one this time, I think.
mhm,
We have a cool story from Walter. Um, we have an interview with the one and only Bert Hubert.
mhm.
We got famous people on the YCast. What else do we want?
Right?
Well, we want people for the vacancy of the week, and
Yes. This is it's going to be a nice one, I think.
yeah. But
Great.
first,
Cool.
let's start off with the news.
Let's start off with the news. So those of you who have been in the meet already heard a little bit about some turmoil in the Y Orga community. In the online Orga meet last Wednesday, the 4th of December, I have read a short statement. The gist of it was that in the last few days, a lot of messages, emails, and other communication about a situation between Team Projectleiding and a few members from Team Batch may have come to your attention. Um, we would like to de-escalate the situation. Of course, I think all the parties are not happy with the current situation, and we would like to ask everyone for a little bit of patience um, um on further news. It would be a bit weird to not mention it on the YCast, so that's why I wanted to share this. But,
In other
and
news, and
in other news, something else happened last Wednesday as well.
during the Orga meet, the ticket sales went live, and
And
not only
uh
that, they went through the roof.
and actually the first ticket sold was announced as well in that online orga meets by someone who was in the last episode. So you'll spot his first ticket and
Congrats,
um
Jos. Nice one.
congratulations. There were 512 early bird tickets available
Early
and
nerd tickets, even.
early nerd tickets. Oh my goodness. And they sold out in record time, I think in 45 hours. I
I
went to
don't know.
sleep
Yeah.
eventually after F5ing for like hours. But when I went to sleep, there were eight early nerd tickets left. And this morning, or at least the next morning, they were all gone.
Uh-huh.
Um, and not only that, because we've been checking it out. Where are we?
I think we're heading to at least 800 by the time this goes out. Yeah.
That's
And
so.
if you wanted to take your camper, I'm sorry,
I
camper
hope you
spots.
already have your tickets for your
Yeah,
camper then.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
That went
So
fast.
that went fast. So
Within 24 hours even.
the early nerds are gone. So the nerd tickets are still available, of course, until the 28th of February
Yeah.
for the current price. Uh so yeah, it's going so much quicker than former episodes of this crazy cool event. Um
I
from what
think
we've
when I
learned
looked, yeah, it's about 16 days, I think, last time to get to 750. And now it was within 24 hours.
within 24 hours. Yeah.
So
So
that's wild.
it's really, really cool to see.
Yeah.
And of course, this would have not been possible without all the people, volunteers who put in so much effort and work. Uh, of course,
Especially,
we will
yeah.
start with Team Sysadmin. They did
Uh-huh.
a very good job. I'm really, really thankful to them. Team Tickets and Entrance, Sysadmin, Team Info, team sysadmin, team merch, huisstijl, promo, sysadmin, of course, team finance. And did we mention sysadmin?
I
I
think we
mean,
didn't, but
okay.
they did an awful lot of work.
Special thanks to all these volunteers that
Yeah.
made it possible and happen that we could release the ticket sales on the 4th of December, which is almost a month earlier than earlier editions. And congrats to you all. I think you did an amazing job, and thank you so much.
Yeah. Which brings us right into the next segment, Where to Hack.
Each week, we will share where you can find why-minded people, where to hack.
Because if you want to meet some of the people who made it possible that the ticket shop went open at the 4th of December, on the 4th of December, you could meet them the 14th of December at BitLayer in Amersfoort.
So that's next week, Saturday, if you listen to the WHYcast on the day it's published. Um, uh, and it's going to be great fun. You are allowed to bring your ugly Christmas sweater, of course. And it's in the new location of BitLayer. You can find all the information on the Why Wiki.
Yeah.
Link is in the show notes.
Yeah, and
So
also if
please,
you go to the wiki on the left in the little menu, there's a direct link to the Orga Meet for the 14th. And please, if you come, register yourself on the wiki so we know how many people we can expect.
because things with food.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
Um, and I also heard that, of course, there's a very special edition of a very special event coming.
You are wearing the Hacker Hotel hoodie.
I am, yeah, and that's the 2 years ago edition because it doesn't have the. No, this is the last year's edition of the Hacker Hotel hoodie. Yeah.
This
So
is the
Hacker
slightly
Hotel
tighter
is
fitting
coming.
one. Yeah.
This Hacker Hotel is coming again.
Yeah. Again, and it has been 10 years since the first one, so there's a special design on the new merch. I've seen a sneak preview,
Mm-hmm.
and somewhere this weekend, I was told the merch shop will open. Remind you, only people who already have a ticket for Hacker Hotel should order merch because you have to pick up the merch at the event, and you can't get in if you don't have a ticket.
Yeah, and tickets are already sold out.
Yeah.
And it's also a nice way to meet Dimitri, who is going to build a firewall, a physical firewall at WHY2025. So
Yeah.
if you want to meet him earlier, either come to BitLayer next week, Hacker Hotel. Well, I think if you go to BitLayer any week, you will probably find Dimitri there anyway. So,
Yep.
but yeah, so this weekend Hacker Hotel merch will go on sale. That's also very cool to know.
Yes.
Since we're talking about anniversaries and things like that, it might be a nice time to talk about a little history lesson right now.
Sure. Each episode will be diving into a piece of history, something special from the predecessors of WHY2025. So that could be from the Galactic Hacker Party from 1989, Hackers at the End of the Universe from 93, Hacking in Progress 97, Hackers at Large 2001, What the Hack 2005, Hacking at Random 2009, Observe Hack Make 2013, Still Hacking Anyways 2017, May Contain Hackers from 2021, no, COVID happened so that became May Contain Hackers 2022. And this week we will be taking a look at...
So with us again is Walter.
Hi
Walter,
there.
let's hear some more stories from the old days of Har.
Har. Har.
Har.
If you say
Har.
har, I think of
Har.
har FM. But we'll talk about that later. So har, yeah, 2009, that was in the Paasheuvel in Vierhouten. It was a bit different than the other ones because there was already facilities. So there were buildings where the lectures were held. And I do still have my original wristband. Har,
Ooh.
har.
Yeah.
And I was that time I was doing press stuff, so I have my horror
Press hat.
press hat, of course,
Very
called
cool. And you're
propaganda.
also doing press this edition, right?
Yes,
Why 2025?
yeah, I've been
Yes.
doing press since 2009.
Cool.
So that was at Harlem, and for some reason or another, I don't recall much of horror. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but what I do remember is that um, the sales went very, very well. So all the tickets were sold in advance, I think even, and then there was a little bit of money left that the organizers thought, what can we do to make the event even better? And they decided to put it in awesome lighting, and that was really awesome. This was the best lit festival. It was yeah, it was really fun. If you walk there during the night, it looked really, really beautiful. I actually have a picture of that as well. So sorry for the people
Let's
listening
show
on the
that.
podcast, but this
That's
is a picture
okay.
of some trees
Yes.
with some nice lighting all around the terrain. So that was cool. One of the other things I did was do radio. So I think this was the first event where there was event radio,
Mm-hmm.
where there was radio being made live and also broadcast through the ether with an official permit to uh, to send it out over the FM ranges.
106.8 FM.
Ah, yeah, so that was horror FM. So we had all kinds of jingles that are still in my head somehow. And I did a radio show there, the graveyard shift, and that was between 2 and 4 in the night. So I did 4 shows every night, sitting almost alone, waiting for random people to walk into the radio studio and have some fun that way. And that's also cool because when do you get the opportunity to do crazy stuff like that in normal life and at the camp? There's so much that is possible that you can try and do. So that was a nice experience. But other than that, I can't really recall if there was anything really super special going on. So
I know
Well,
it was my first Dutch hackercamp, and I think that was the edition where Tim Kuik from Stichting Brein was on the stage. Yeah, and there
yeah,
were
yeah.
he was very big against piracy and stuff like that, and music piracy and movie
Yeah.
piracy and things like that. And actually, people from the Pirate Bay were in the audience, so that was a very interesting thing
Yeah.
going on there. Also, what I recall is that it was a normal campsite, and outside our camp were just families having their holidays, and sometimes they got lost a little bit, and they ended up on the hard camp, and they were like,
What is going on?
What is going on here?" But from what I recall, because I was at the Open BSD village at the time, on that was on the side of the terrain. Um, these people were very willing to talk to us and were like, "Hey, yeah, we're doing this and that," and that was, yeah, was like, we're not that scary.
No, that we like to talk and like to understand other people, like to talk with people, but that's also why
Yep,
Tim Kuik was there. I mean, it was
yep,
indeed controversial, and I think yeah, I was there. There was probably some tension in the room because there were people from the Pirate
yep,
Bay and Tim Kuik, but I mean, it's nice of the hacker community to invite this guy to give his talk, and it's very nice of him to come and do the talk.
yeah.
So
In the
yeah,
lines then, yeah, yeah, yeah.
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 And I think this was also where Julian Assange was actually there in person.
Yeah,
That was hard.
he was
Yeah.
at Har, yeah, but that was before all the shit hit the fan.
I was too busy brewing beer,
Mhm.
not beer.
Well, Julian Assange was he actually physically there?
Yes, he
Yeah,
was. Someone else told me
yeah.
earlier this week. Yeah, he was physically there. So not much war stories from her.
Sorry, I'll make it up with
From your
when
side.
we're going to do Ohm.
We
Well,
will
then I have
find
then I
we
have
will
a
find
nerdy
other
question.
80s. Oh, go
I have a
ahead.
nerdy question then, because I'm looking at the booklet for HAR, and I see a lot of mentions of DEX phone numbers, and I wasn't at HAR personally, but I do know that on several camps later, I brought my deck set and got a phone on the terrain because there was a full coverage decked network on the terrain. Was this the first one with decked coverage, or was that also available earlier? This is the first time I see it mentioned.
Yeah, that's one of those things that are hard to remember, because I remember having decked phones, but it's hard to match that to a specific
pinpoint it.
event.
Yeah.
It could have very well been the first one. I also think that the later ones, that's all done by the German decked phone guys, but I think the first one was not done by them. And it could very well have been, if you have the booklet and it says these deck numbers, then it must have been at HAR, and I can't really remember it having been done at What the Heck.
Well, we will look for other attendees of that camp who might remember. Send us an email at WHYcast@WHY2025.org, and we will mention it in future episodes. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah, and if you want to tell it yourself, you can
be welcome.
You could be here in this call and tell us your war stories. Walter, thank you very much, and hope to see you in the next episode with more cool stories.
Yeah, bye.
So we are a little bit undecisive for if it was the first edition with decked phones or not. Can you tell a little bit more about it?
I wasn't there, so I can't tell you how it was at HAR. But I do have my decked phone right here.
Mm-hmm.
And this one has seen a couple of events already.
That's cool. And it's still white. That's impressive.
It took
At least
some
from
elbow
this
grease.
Perspective.
Yeah, it took some elbow grease, but I got it white again. Yeah, grass leaves remarkably resilient stains on white plastics. It's horrible.
A couple of weeks ago at WHYcon, we interviewed Bert Hubert. I was amazed by his passion about and his love for the Dutch hacker camps. So let's listen to him.
Yeah, so the first hacker camp I attended was in 1993. It was hacking at the end of the universe.
Yes.
And for me, it was a huge thing because I was already a big nerd. But at the time, people around me were not nerds. So I was in high school, and for me, there was the event where I had to gather the courage to go there because I had never met any of these hackers and these nerds. And I went there, and I was home.
Oh.
I arrived, and I was among my people, and they were also weird.
This is my crowd.
And I was also weird, and they were like, hey, it's great that you are weird too. And I had my little tent, and I slept there, and so I was 17 at the time, and it was a huge thing for me. It was an emotional experience, and at the time I was not yet very good at this stuff. So, and I was surrounded, but I was always the best nerd in my own environment.
Yeah.
And then I arrived, and there were all these wonderful people around me who were far bigger nerds than I was, and who had achieved far more. And I was almost like a religious experience.
Oh wow!
So when I see the young people arriving at hacker events, because the hacker community is getting old.
Yeah,
quickly.
It is.
But if you look at these hacker events, there are all these 18-year-olds, and I'm like, wow, I hope you have as wonderful a time here as I do. And I see it as one of the few on-ramps for the hacker community for younger people, because otherwise it's getting a bit gray.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's I'm already so much looking forward to next year.
So, what would you say to a young person that's still a bit hesitant on what's in it for me? What am I going to experience?
So to a large approximation, you can just consider it as a normal camp, like a music festival or whatever, because we have the beer, we have the substances, everything is there. So I hear, and so you can just go there and assume it's a normal music festival. There's even music. So if you want, you can just pretend that it's a music festival with a lot of computers.
Yep.
And once you are there, if you have these hobbies, if you ever wanted to know everything about the GPS system, or you wanted to know how your mobile phone really works, or you want to see how people hack Wi-Fi, there are just tents where they do that live for you on your own stuff. And the other thing I cannot stress enough is everyone is so friendly. Maybe that is a difference with a normal music festival or whatever. If you try to get something stolen, it will be returned to you 25 times. So if you leave your bicycle somewhere, someone will come bring it back to you.
Yeah.
As an example, last time round, I was super tired and my tent was not set up correctly. And I went off to do my speech. I come back, my tent is set up correctly. Because other people had noticed, Bert, he looks tired, and let's fix his tent. Let's fix his tent for him. And I was like, these are my people.
This is where I come for.
This is where I can trade doing a talk on DNA, and someone is so happy that they fix my tent.
Yeah.
I mean,
You can go back in the YouTube channel to watch your talks.
Yeah.
And also to CCC, the media.
Yeah.
Media.ccc. Thank you, Adfluencer, behind the camera. To see some more. Hopefully you plan to do something next year as well.
Definitely.
Do you have tips or tricks for people who might want to fill out the CFP to become a speaker?
Yeah. So for one thing, this is one of the most welcoming places ever to do a talk.
Yes.
And there will always be someone who is interested in your weird hobby. It doesn't really matter how weird your hobby is. There are people going to go for it. Like you breed insects. I want to know everything how to breed insects. And so that's the first thing. So it's a very welcoming place. And
Absolutely.
The other thing I'd like to add is that it's a place for telling stories also. So if you put your thing into context, so it's not like I'm breeding insects, but I am breeding insects because I care a lot about reptiles and biodiversity, because that's the other thing. You will find people that are interested in whatever you do there, because it's a much broader place than just, hey, I'm going to talk about my soldering iron. There are talks about biodiversity in Africa.
Yeah.
There are talks about energy efficiency on the moon. So whatever, there is no hobby too weird for our hacker camps. So do not let that hold you back, because there will be a population for you. Some other things I made, that's my personal contribution. Doing a good talk requires a little bit of thinking. And I actually, especially for the hacker camps, I made, I think, 2 or 3 blog posts that say these are things to think about when presenting for the hacker camp. And if you do these things, and you can find that if you search on Bert Hubert.
We'll put a link in the show notes.
On 2017, you will find, because a key thing is, of course, a lot of our hacker communities are not natural presenters, to be honest. However, the bar is not that high. So if you show up and you have a story to tell, and you tell it audibly, people can hear it, so no mumbling, then you're very near to being successful already. Just Absolutely. As long as, because you have such a lovely audience that wants to hear about your Wi-Fi insect sensor. They really want to. But do think ahead. What do these people want to hear?
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
And turn it into your story. That's also a very great and helpful tip.
Yeah.
That helps a lot. And just try it out at your local hackerspace, maybe, or. Yeah,
because that's one thing many people will admit. So I do give sort of presenting tips. I coach people a little bit, and I very often hear that I did not practice my talk at all. And then I'm like, I know it's hard. It sucks. It sucks to present to a mirror or to a wall, but you would not expect success in other areas of life. If you say, I never tried this before, and the first time I'm gonna do it is with 2,000 of my best friends, which is not the best place for learning about that stuff. So do practice at least, and you can just practice to a wall or whatever, or to your local hacker community, and even then it's gonna be good.
Absolutely, practicing is a good thing. That's also my experience as a speaker. Is there anything cool story that pops to mind from the last couple of camps? Because you've been to a lot of camps. This will be your 9th even. Yeah, probably. If you've been to all. Is there one thing that pops to mind? Oh man, that was just a crazy thing happening.
Well, I want to share one experience almost every time when the camp is done. And you have help clean up and stuff, and you leave. I cry every time. It's little tears, but on the way out, I'm on my own again. and getting in the
4 more
car,
years.
and it's actually sort of you get into car or in the vehicle or whatever, and you leave all the grand stuff behind.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need to come back, but I can only come back in a few years.
I feel you. I feel it. Bert, I'm so happy that you will be there again next year. It's so cool to talk to you today. And thank you so much for your insights.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I think that anyone who wants to be a speaker at any event and needs some help, you are more than welcome to reach out to Bert to see if you can get some extra help.
Yeah, and we would love to have your submissions for the call for participation.
Absolutely.
cfp.why2025.org, or just look at the website. But if you do, make sure you have something proper to bring to the stage. And with the tips from Bert, I think that should go very well.
Absolutely. So, although we have a lot of lovely volunteers who make a lot of cool stuff happening, we still have vacancies, and a vacancy of the week that was mentioned, brought to our attention last Wednesday. So maybe you can share a little bit on it.
From Team Deco, who has been on the show very early in the episodes. They are working on the deco for the entire event, but they could use some help with someone focusing specifically on the silent lounge.
Yes.
A heavenly-like silent lounge is the plan for next year. So if you think that is something I would like to put in my creativity, contact Team Deco, contact Moon, and make something pretty, make something nice.
It's not quite sure yet which team is responsible for the silent lounge, so that might differ in the future, but at least Moon then will know where you should go. So and otherwise you can always email me and we'll figure it out. No problem.
Yes. But whichever team it's going to end up being the responsibility of, the design needs to be designed.
Yep.
Yep. And with that, if you have any questions for us, if you have any comments, you can put them down below if you're watching on YouTube, and otherwise you can send an email to WHYcast@WHY2025.org and we will read your email.
Very good. Thank you for listening to us, and we hope to see you again next Friday.
WHYday.